I was able to get a bunch of inmates in their prison jumpsuits to do transformational work. I was able to get them to think about their emotions, to think about their past. I even got them to do inner child work. And the most amazing part about that is it was all voluntarily. It wasn't court ordered. They didn't have to do it, but they chose to do it. And the reason why they chose to do it is because of one concept that I shared with them. This is how it happened. For the last 2.5 years that I lived in Baltimore, Maryland, I taught anger management in a county jail. And again, the class was not a court-ordered class. The guys could choose to take it if they were so inclined. And the class itself happened twice a week for 4 weeks. And so the reality was that first class wasn't actually a class. It was a sales conversation, because what I had to do is I had to position myself, a volunteer from the outside, that I had something worthy for them to listen to. And all good sales conversations have 3 phases to them. Phase 1 is I understand you. Phase 2 is I care about you. And then phase 3 is I have a plan or I have a tool that is useful for you. And people are unwilling to listen to what you have to offer until you've demonstrated that you understand and that you care. And so the very last thing that I taught in that first class every single month was what I call the stages of awareness. And the stages of our awareness are the process which we go through as we are healing and as we are transforming. I would teach the 6 stages and I'd turn to the guys and go, do you want to join me on this journey? And because of their understanding of this concept, not only did they buy into transformation, it made their transformation easier. And so today, as we continue our healing and transformational fundamentals, I'm going to teach you the 6 stages of awareness, how it was useful for my guys in jail, but most importantly, how it will be useful for you. This is Monterastelli. Welcome to the Tapping Q&A podcast, recorded live to tape from Williamsburg in Brooklyn. This is episode 574, originally aired August 30th, 2023. Hi, everyone. I hope this finds you well wherever you are and whatever time of day you're getting a chance to consume this. Thanks for spending a little time with me today. Like I said, today, what we're going to do is we're continuing our series on healing and fundamental transformations. This is part 10. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be talking about this idea called the stages of awareness. Before we do that, what I want to do is I want you to have access to the tool that I use. So once you understand these stages of awareness, you're going to need a tool to create transformation. For myself, the tool that I use daily on myself, that I use regularly with my clients, is something that is called tapping. All you need to do is follow the little red arrow in the upper right-hand corner. And what that's going to do is that's going to take you to learntotap.com. When you go to learntotap.com, you will get the basics on tapping so that once you understand the stages of awareness and anything else that we share with you on this channel, it's going to be super, super easy for you to use tapping to create transformation in your own life. So as we are working our way through these various healing and transformational fundamentals, this one is a little different. Many of the ones that we've talked about so far are actionable things where you can start tapping on the idea or you can create implementation. Today is going to be different. I'm not giving you a tool for transformation. And don't hit stop, don't go away. But instead what I'm doing is I'm going to give you an overview of what it looks like as we move our way through the healing process. Because when we understand the way we move through the healing process, because it is a process, it is a system, it looks the same over and over and over again, where the details of our struggle is different, but how healing happens is the same every single time. So when we understand this process, when we understand how things unfold, what it does is it puts us in a position where we can recognize where we are. More importantly, we can recognize how far we have come. And by recognizing how far we have come, it normalizes our experience as we get on this path. And we recognize that we are heading in the right direction and what the next step is and what we can do to implement this. So of all of the things that we're sharing in these 20 parts of this series, this is the most intellectual, this is the most big picture. But like I said at the beginning, it's super important for us to understand, because when we understand how this is happening, it gives us insight into creating transformation. So the stages of awareness are: what is our awareness of what is going on? What is our awareness of why we are responding and how we are responding? Because obviously, the more aware we are about what our experience is and how it is unfolding, the easier it is for us to reach for a tool. And so there are 6 stages in this stages of awareness. Now, as we work our way through these 6 stages, what we are going to do is we're going to use the exact same example in all 6 stages so that you can see how each one of the stages are slightly different in the process. And so the example that we are going to use is we are going to use the example that I am in a meeting with my team and I am sharing an idea with my colleagues. And when I share my ideas with a colleague, another one of my team members is going to ask me a question about what I am sharing. And at the beginning of this process, the way I'm going to respond is I am going to feel as if I am being undermined by that coworker because they're pointing out a failure in front of the boss. Stage 1. So stage 1 is an unconscious response. So we are in the setting with our coworkers. The question is asked in front of the boss. I feel undermined and I storm off angrily. Now, in this particular moment, I'm calling it an unconscious response because I am not thinking through what is going on. I am not processing what the coworker said. I'm not processing the fact that it's in the context of a team meeting. I'm not processing the fact that it's in front of the boss. I simply assume that the question was asked of me to make me look stupid in front of the boss so they look better. That is an unconscious response. Stage 2, the exact same thing happens, but now at distance with the help of someone else, we start to process what is going on. We start to become aware of what is going on. So the exact same thing happens in the team meeting. I storm off, I go to my desk, I throw my things down. The person who shares a cubicle with me can tell how distressed I am. And so they start asking me questions. And I start telling them about how my coworker was this giant jerk and they made me look stupid in front of the boss. And my colleague says, that's really fascinating. I appreciate the fact that you're frustrated, but I wonder if your colleague was just asking that question to get clarity and there wasn't actually any of the motive that you are writing to this. So now, at distance with the help of someone else, I'm starting to become aware of my emotional response and why I might be having that emotional response. Now, the coworker may or may not be trying to undermine me. They may or may not trying to be helpful, but what's important is my awareness of assessing what is going on. Stage 3, I become aware, emotionally aware, at distance on my own. So the exact same thing happens. I'm really, really frustrated. I storm out of the meeting. I get to my desk. I throw things down. And as I throw things down and I sit in my chair, I'm like, what just happened there? And I start to process what is going on. And I become aware of the fact, the reason I am so frustrated and angry right now is I think my coworker was undermining me in front of the boss, and that's where the emotional response comes. I wonder if they were actually trying to undermine me. So again, you can see these are the stages of awareness. I am now more aware of my emotional response, and this time I was able to do it on my own. So stage 4 is in the moment. As it is coming up, I recognize what is going on and I get to down-regulate that emotion. And so for me, what this is I am in the meeting and I'm giving my presentation and the coworker, the colleague asks a question and I can feel the emotion building inside of me because I am aware they are trying to undermine me in front of the boss. But then I pause for a moment and go, maybe that's the case, maybe not, but responding in frustration isn't the best way to do it. The way I always like to think about stage 4 is I like to think of it from the very, very first Matrix movie. And this was the scene that really set the tone for the Matrix. And they called it the bullet time scene. And what it is Neo, the Keanu Reeves character, is being chased by Agent Smith. But because Neo has now become so aware of what is going on inside of the Matrix, he's not able to stop Agent Smith from firing at him. but he's able to slow the world down, and he's able to get out of the way as the bullet misses him. And so that's what it feels like in the moment. Someone has said something that is triggering me emotionally, but I'm aware enough in the moment to go, this is triggering me emotionally. I'm going to downregulate this emotion in the moment, which now gives me the opportunity to respond in a different way. And so you can see how much better it is for me in the moment, stage 4, to be able to recognize this, because I'm able to make a better choice, where when I recognize it after the fact, I may make a poor choice in the moment, and then after the fact, I see more clearly. Stage 5. Now, this is where it starts to get really, really interesting. In stage 5, I'm in the meeting, colleague asks a question, but because of the healing, because of the transformation, because of the awareness I now have, the question comes in the back of my mind. I go, in the past, this would trigger me because it feels like I'm being undermined in front of the boss, but maybe they're not undermining me. I'm good enough with what's going on. I have a great relationship with the boss, so I don't need to worry about it. So the difference between stage 4 and stage 5 is in stage 4, the emotion is coming up and we're able to downregulate it. In stage 5, we have no emotional response at all, but we have a remembrance of having that emotional response. Stage 6 is just being completely unaware of the past problem at all. I am in the meeting. I have done so much work. I'm so much more comfortable and confident inside of myself. I'm not going to overreact to what is going on, so that when the colleague asks me a question, I just answer the question. I'm not even thinking about, in the past, I used to think this was an issue. It is so much a non-issue. We no longer even think about the process of getting to this particular point. And when it comes to healing and when it comes to transformation, that is the place we want to land. We want to be in the place where we have done so much cleaning and we've done so much clearing, and we're healthfully responding emotionally in the moment in such a way that we're not even burdened with the memory of overreacting in the past. And so now you can see why my guys in jail bought in. The class I was teaching was an anger management class, and most of them were living in stage 1, stage 2, or stage 3. And in stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, stage 1 were unaware, stage 2 and stage 3 were only being aware after the fact, which probably means if we're aware after the fact, in the moment, we are being so consumed by our anger, we're acting in a way that we're not going to be happy with in the long term. And so after laying out these 6 stages and helping them to recognize that lots of time in their anger, they're living in stage 1, stage 2, or stage 3, I said, wouldn't it be awesome to be in a circumstance just to get to stage 4? So as the anger came up, you could push it back down and you can make a better choice. Even before we get to the dream of stage 5 and stage 6, where we're not consumed by that anger at all, just being able to make a better choice was enough for them to go, yes, I will try this wacky cuckoo tapping stuff because I want to move through those stages. I want to be in a place where I'm in control. And so this is good and useful, not just for folks who are fighting anger, not just for those who are incarcerated, but every single one of us. Because if you are watching this, you are a person who is trying to be more aware. You are a person who is trying to create change and transformation in your life. And so when we recognize these stages of awareness, it does a number of things. First of all, if we're in stage 1, 2, or 3, it helps us to recognize, boy, I really have work to do because I want to be making a good choice in the moment. I don't want to be just reflecting on bad choices after the fact. Number 2, what it does is it normalizes the healing process. Because when I am in stage 3, I am still responding in the moment, and I'm only recognizing after the fact that I'm acting in that way out of the emotion. But if I have made it to stage 3, it means that I know myself enough that I'm able to do that assessment on my own, which means I now know the entry point to use tapping or whatever tool that I have to create that transformation and step in. And so even though I might not be acting radically different, because the way I'm thinking about my experience, it means I'm heading in the right direction. And the last thing that this does is it normalizes the healing process for us. It helps us to recognize it's not just as easy as recognize the problem, do a little tapping, or use whatever tool you like to do, and then it is gone. Instead, what it does is it goes, okay, this is a process that has a step, that has a step, that has a step, and boy, do I really want to be at stage 6. Boy, do I really want to be in a place where I don't even think about these past issues at all and just be present in the moment. But it shows it's possible for us to get there. And so those are the stages of awareness. This is part 10 in our series on healing fundamentals. If you found this useful, I'd really encourage you to go back to the beginning of the series. On the screen right now, you will see a little link that you can click. Click on that playlist and it'll take you to every single one of the videos in this series. For Tap In Q&A, this is Monterastelli. Hope you have a great day, and I will talk to you real soon. Bye-bye.